Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have some self-study courses about manifesting your specific person. And I do have a members-only channel with a lot of perks for members, including weekly live workshops with a different manifesting topic each week, weekly live group coaching, a lot of exclusive content, monthly challenges for a chance to win a free one-on-one coaching session with me, and a lot more. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website or to the membership channel. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to answer a very interesting question that I received recently, and I thought I would make a video about it. And the question is, does revision change the past? So if I revise a past event, something that happened in my past, whether that's the near past or the distant past, is this actually going to change the past? Is it going to change the event in the past? Yes or no? This is a very interesting question that I wanted to delve into, so this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So for those of you who are familiar with the teachings of the law of assumption, especially those of you who have studied Neville Goddard, you are probably familiar with the concept of revision. And what revision is, very briefly, I've made long videos about that, but very briefly what it is reimagining an event in the past, not the way it happened, but the way in which you would have wanted it to have happened. Other ways of revision is also practicing forgiveness, so making a firm decision to leave the past in the past and move forward. And also seeing the past, whatever it happened, no matter how unpleasant or undesirable it might have been, as a necessary condition, as a bridge that is still for your benefit, is still for your greater good, and is still going to serve to bring your manifestation to you. All these are ways of revising the past, whether that is imagining it in a different way, or practicing forgiveness and leaving it in the past, or seeing it as a part of the bridge of incidents, bringing you your desire and your manifestation anyway. The question remains, does revision alter the past? Does revision change the past? And so the answer may actually surprise you, because the answer is yes and no. Doing revision does change the past in a way, and in another way, it does not. So let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, so that we're all on the same page, the thing that you need to remember is that the number one point, the number one purpose of doing revision, no matter which one of those three ways you decide to use to do your revision, is to remove the trigger that this past event, this past experience, this past unpleasant memory is causing you to feel. In other words, when the memory of that incident, whether that's in the near past or the distant past, is still hurting you, is still causing you pain of some sort, is still causing you perhaps anxiety or sadness or resentment, anger, jealousy, whatever the feeling might be, this means that it's still triggering you. It still has some sort of power over you. You are still assuming that it has some sort of importance over you and over your life and over the development of the events in your life. And this is the important thing that you're addressing by doing revision, is that with revision, whatever the technique you decide to use, you are essentially addressing that trigger. You are essentially helping yourself heal that trigger. You are essentially neutralizing the memory in your head, in your mind, so that you reach a point where it comes up and it doesn't cause you any pain, it doesn't cause you any hurt, it doesn't cause you any triggering feelings anymore. And so by doing revision, your number one purpose is to heal yourself from that past trigger and to also stop carrying it with you in your present and in your future. With that being said, and with that understanding, doing the revision, does it actually change the past or not? The actual answer is that it does not, and I'm going to explain what I mean in a second. However, it feels like it does. And once again, let me explain. As I have taught you guys in many videos, there are infinite realities. There are infinite versions of reality from which you can choose. So what you are doing essentially by making that revision, by changing that event in the past, and with effectively changing the way that you feel about that memory, is that you are selecting a new timeline for yourself. So you're not actually changing a set reality and making it something else. Instead, you are pushing that old reality aside and you are bringing forth a new reality, a new timeline, if you will, where that past incident doesn't hurt you anymore, that past incident is a faded memory, that past incident even did not happen the way that you originally remembered it to have happened. And so the way you start remembering that old memory, and even more interestingly, the way the people around you, the people involved in it, are remembering that old memory, that old incident, changes anything from slightly to radically. And so while there still exists a reality where that old memory, that old event did happen the way that you originally remembered it, your revision has now brought forth a new timeline where that is no longer the case. It has changed in some way, it has shifted in some way, people remember it in different ways, they might not even remember it at all, but in some way it is different to the original event, the original incident, the original memory. The original reality still exists, it's just not your dominant reality in the 3D anymore. It has been replaced by another dominant reality where the situation, the experience, the memory is different. So from that point of view, you understand that you didn't really truly change the past. You instead brought forth a different timeline. However, here is the kicker. The way in which you experience your 3D, even though your 3D is not linear, even though your 3D is in reality the sum total of different and new timelines coming in and out all the time, sometimes connecting, sometimes turning away from each other, sometimes changing, sometimes going away, disappearing, and so on. The way you and I and all of us in this 3D world, in this 3D experience are experiencing reality feels to be linear for all intents and purposes. So in other words, we're not really aware that we are constantly changing timelines in our day-to-day life, even moment by moment. We're not aware of that. We experience the whole thing as a linear experience, as a linear progression of events, as a linear unfolding of events. And as such, when we go in and revise an incident, an experience, a past event, a memory, and so on, once that changes, and once the changes get reflected to us in our 3D, it does truly feel like we went in and changed the past. Because the people in our life remember the incident differently. Like I said, sometimes they may not even remember it at all. We may remember it differently. We certainly are not triggered anymore by that situation, that memory. We view it differently. We feel differently towards it. We see it from a different perspective. There are cases when we ourselves might not even remember the events as they originally happened. And for all intents and purposes, our past has changed through our revision, in the sense of how we experience our 3D reality and how we experience the unfolding of this reality moment by moment, day to day in our 3D. So does revision change the past or not? Like I said, yes and no. And hopefully by now it's clear to you why I gave this answer. The important thing is, you guys, if you're using revision as a tool, and it's a great tool, it's a fantastic tool, I often say you cannot fully immerse yourself into the new story if you haven't gotten rid of your old story first. Meaning if you haven't changed your feelings towards the situation. But using revision is an amazing tool to get the trigger out of you, get it out of your system, and change the situation and bring about a new timeline that is aligned with the experience that you want instead. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.